Harper Business and HarperAudio present Reprogramming the American Dream, From Rural America to Silicon Valley, Making AI Serve Us All, by Kevin Scott, with Greg Shaw. Read by Matt Godfrey. Forward. A couple of years ago, I found myself on the phone with Microsoft Chief Technology Officer, CTO, Kevin Scott. Calls like this happen from time to time. I am in the business of investing in technology companies, and when an important leader of one of the most important technology companies wants to give you a call, you answer. I didn't realize at the time that Kevin and I came from similar backgrounds. He grew up poor, in a family living on the outskirts of rural Appalachia, and though our stories differed in important ways, it felt like I was talking to a kindred spirit. I spend so much of my life around people who don't understand my background that it was easy to talk to someone whose life bore so much resemblance to my own. We spoke about what he was seeing in his work with Microsoft, what types of companies I had invested in, and my book, Hillbilly Elegy. He also asked me about writing a book, something he had apparently thought about doing for some time. So, I gave him my views on writing a book while having a full-time job, the upsides and the downsides. The advice was probably useless, worth about what Kevin paid for it, but we promised to stay in touch, and then I hung up the phone. In the coming months, I'd invite Kevin to accompany my team during some of our investing work, and he graciously agreed. I knew that he continued to work on his book, and eventually I got an email from Kevin with a long Word file. Apparently, Kevin had worked on his book in earnest, and the pages you hold in your hands are the fruit of that labor. Reprogramming the American Dream is a hybrid of a book. In it, you learn a bit about Kevin's background, where he came from, what his parents did, and how he struggled, and didn't. You learn a bit about his values, and what motivates him. He's never quite gotten over his home in rural Virginia. He still loves it and regrets just a little the fact that he was eventually forced to leave. That's a tension I know well. But it also has some interesting ideas. The core thesis of the book is that AI, artificial intelligence, is coming, and we need to do something about it. We need to understand it, how it will affect our future, what it will require of our educational institutions, and what it will do to our jobs. I first became interested in AI through my work as an investor. I didn't originally think much about its effect on jobs. In my life as an investor, I'm paid, at a fundamental level, to see things before other people see them. And I became mildly obsessed with the fact that no one spoke about AI as a military technology. Most new technology, after all, has a military application, and there were some obvious ways in which America's global competition recognized the military use of AI. But among many of the technology entrepreneurs I spoke to, they focused on any number of AI applications: drug discovery, early cancer detection, autonomous vehicles, lighting for agriculture, and on and on. But if you spend enough time reading about AI, for whatever reason, you'll eventually stumble onto a conversation about its effect on jobs. Before too long, I had uncritically accepted the conventional wisdom that automation would lead to a jobs Armageddon, where low and middle-skilled workers would lose their ability to make a living. But it's not totally clear that's true. To take just one obvious example from recent history, the advent of automated teller machines, ATMs, might have been expected to eliminate all the human tellers. Instead, ATMs reduced the cost of running a brick-and-mortar bank. It freed up human tellers to do other things, and today there are more tellers employed than when the ATM was invented. This book is such a critical contribution to the conversation because it pushes back against the conventional wisdom. Sometimes, AI will destroy jobs, yes, but technology is a core part of how our society improves itself. Diseases are cured and people made healthier through the process of doing things we couldn't do before. In other words, through technology. Technology is hardly the only important part of a growing and vibrant society. But without real technological innovation, it's hard to achieve rising living standards. One of my favorite parts of this book is where Kevin gets a little technical on AI. Kevin knows his stuff and respects his readers enough to not talk down to them. You won't become an AI expert from one book, but you'll gain some
Sample complete. Ready to continue?